Used car in Japan for sale. I'm here at Gulliver's used car dealership. Today I'm going to talk about cheap used cars in Japan. There are thousands and thousands of Japan used cars for sale at very cheap and reasonable prices. In today's video, I will talk about what you need to know when buying used car in Japan. So much to cover today, so let's get into it. If this is your first time to watch this channel, I'm Mike Matsuno, the man in Japan. I'm originally from Hawaii and have lived in Japan for over 25 years. On this channel, we talk about daily life and living in Japan. If you're interested in Japan, please hit that like button and subscribe. In the US, many people tend to sell their old cars directly to other people rather than selling to a used car dealership because it's much more beneficial for seller and buyer. However, in Japan, people usually do not sell and buy used cars directly from other people. The reason is in Japan, that would involve exchanging personal information, and there are often disagreements about the condition of the car. So the majority of people will sell their old cars to a used car dealership like here at Gulliver's. Today, I'm at Gulliver's used car dealership here in Kyotanabe. Gulliver's is a nationwide car dealership chain that has over 500 shops, and this one here in Kyotanabe is 20 years old. The trade-in value for older cars in Japan is actually quite low and would depend on the year, mileage, make, and condition of the car. However, the price to buy a new used car is actually very cheap and reasonable. Stella bought her first used car here at Gulliver's 15 years ago. It was a blue Nissan March. It was 10 years old at that time and only had 18,000 kilometers, about 12,000 miles of mileage. She paid 250,000 yen. Can you imagine a used car selling for $2,500 that only had 12,000 miles on it? After driving it for 6 years, she traded the old Nissan March in and we purchased the red Mitsubishi Colt, which at that time was only 9 years old. The Colt had 29,000 kilometers on it and we paid 420,000 yen, which is about $4,000. It's now 8 years later and today I'm going to trade in the Colt for about 40,000 yen and purchase a third new used car, which is a Honda Fit. We always return here to Gulliver's because in Japan, we tend to build a sense of trust and a relationship with local businesses. We have worked with 3 different store managers here, and every time one of them was leaving, they would introduce me to their successor. This third time is Kaneko-san, the assistant manager, who I've been working with for the last 4 years. Every 2 years, we bring the car into Gulliver's for the shaken check. The process to buy a used car here started a couple of months ago when the Mitsubishi Colt was coming up for the required every 2-year shaken inspection. Shaken is a mandatory comprehensive inspection and checkup that every car in Japan is required to have every 2 years by Japanese law. That is why you rarely see any badly dented or broken down cars in Japan. Cars all have to be inspected every 2 years by a licensed shaken mechanic. All problems must be repaired and it's not cheap. For older cars, the shaken costs average about maybe 100,000 yen, which is about $1,000 every 2 years. There's a base price and the actual exact shaken cost will depend on how much work your car needs. If your shaken has expired and you are caught or stopped by the police, your license will be suspended, 6 points will be deducted off of your license, and you will be sentenced to 1 year and 6 months in prison or fined up to 800,000 yen, which is about $8,000. It's a very serious and costly offense. Last November 2021, I realized that the Mitsubishi Colt Shaken was coming up for renewal in March 2022. I thought instead of paying another 100,000 yen for the shaken of the Colt, I should instead use that money to purchase a newer used car with less mileage, and that would give me another 2 years before I have to renew the next shaken. 2 months ago, I told Kaneko-san that I was thinking of purchasing a new used car instead of renewing the shaken. I was looking for a cheaper, older used car with low mileage. He then went on the internet and checked around at used car dealerships and found the Honda Fit, which was 15 years old but only had 30,000 kilometers on it, a little over 18,000 miles, and it sold for 330,000 yen. So I said I'd like to take a look at it. So Kaneko-san arranged for it to be delivered to his shop here in Kyotanabe to see if it was what I wanted. What was interesting is that he didn't get the Honda Fit from another Gulliver shop, but from a different used car dealership. So many used car dealerships in Japan actually work together, which I thought was really nice, even if they're competitors. But that also gives their customers a lot more access to used cars all over Japan. In Japan, it's not that common to test drive the car, which in the US would be the first thing the potential buyer would usually do. You can, but he says only 50% of the people they ask to drive in. And he said there's some people who are just driving in that parking lot of Gulliver's, which is so narrow and small that they just go forward and back. And I said, that doesn't show you anything. And he laughed and he goes, oh, just the feeling. I go, oh, okay, that's Japanese, right? Sasuga Japan. Just getting the feeling of maybe going 10 feet, 10, 20 feet in front and 10, 20 feet back. That's as big as the parking lot is in Gulliver's. So after looking it over and Kaneko-san showing me the different features of the Honda Fit, we went inside to discuss the price and the schedule. At used car businesses in Japan, you can usually negotiate some. And for the first 2 cars, we did make an offer after we heard the original price. But this third time, Kaneko-san had to bring the car in from another used car business, and I trusted him that this was the best price he could give me. I thought by the third car that we had a good relationship and accepted his quoted price. But normally, especially if this is your first time, there is some room for negotiation usually. For me in Japan, finding a used car was the easiest part. Then began the paperwork to deal with the bureaucratic system. So the first thing I had to do was sign a gentleman's agreement that I would purchase the Honda Fit from Gulliver's. So on that same day in the office, I signed the agreement. Then Kaneko-san told me I would need to bring my Hanko, which is a personal stamp that all Japanese have. I told Kaneko-san that I always use my signature, even at the bank. But he said that their system was old and traditional, and I still needed to bring in my Hanko to stamp. I did have a Hanko that Osaka Gakuin University, my former university, did make for me when I worked for them. So I said I would bring that Hanko. He then asked if I had it registered at the city hall. I said, what? Why would I need to register my Hanko at the city hall? He said that was to verify that my personal Hanko was officially Mike Matsuno's Hanko, and that after registering the Hanko, I would need to get a document from City Hall that shows the stamp and confirms that this is my official registered Hanko. So since there was no other option, I went home, searched, and I found my old Hanko. And then I headed up to City Hall. Kaneko-san had written for me on a note in Japanese of what I needed from City Hall. So I thought it should be quick and easy. So I filled out the Hanko registration form, showed the clerk at the City Hall the Japanese note that Kaneko-san wrote for me, and handed her my Hanko. She then asked me to stamp the form with my Hanko. I didn't know, but in Japan, only the person who owns the Hanko can legally stamp the document. So I did, but then she looked at it puzzlingly, and I thought, oh no, what now? She then said to wait a moment, and she went to the back of the office to talk to someone. A few minutes later, she then returned and said that they could not accept my Hanko for registration because it was damaged on the edges of the stamp in 3 places. Now, the edges were just the frame of the Hanko, but the Japanese rule was that because they were officially registering my Hanko, it had to be perfect, and she said I had to go and make a new Hanko. I said, what? The chip parts were not part of the name, nor did it affect the stamp of my name. She said that doesn't matter. I then told her that this Hanko being chipped naturally on the edges like this would make it even more difficult for anyone to try and copy this Hanko. And so this is better security than having the Hanko in the complete form. She just shook her head and said, I have to make a new Hanko. So now I'm riding down to Heiwado. I'm going to see if I can have a Hanko made there. So I hope that they have a Hanko shop, and second, that they can make it really quickly. So I just went to the Hanko shop. Luckily, they had one here in Heiwado. And I said, please, I want to make the cheapest, fastest Hanko possible. And the cheapest one, I thought maybe 1,000 yen, $10. 4,000 yen, $40. It's crazy. So I placed the order, and it had to be an alphabet. That's what the City Hall wanted, Romaji. They didn't want katakana or kanji or hiragana. They wanted it in alphabet because I guess I usually sign my name in alphabet. So what was interesting was that I showed the lady who owns the Hanko shop my Hanko, right here. And I explained to her what happened at City Hall, and they said that it was damaged around the frame, and so I couldn't register it. And she goes, yeah, that's Japan. And I said to her, but you know what? This Hanko, because it's damaged in, a very unique and original way, no one could copy this Hanko, right? And she said, yeah, 100%. She said that nobody could copy that Hanko. So I said, wouldn't that be better to register this Hanko? They make a new one where anybody could pretty much copy, just alphabet like Matsuno with the round frame that's intact. And she agreed. Then she said, yeah, but the Japanese City Hall, it's like, she gave me the X, like, no, cannot. So this is another part to the story. I'm now at the realtor. It's my realtor, How to Home. And what happens is Gulliver's gave me the little list that I had to do. And one of the things is I have to come here to get a form that says that I am putting my new used car into the same parking spot that I already have, if that makes sense. Just because I changed the car, I have to get a new form, and it costs 6,600 yen, over $60, to get this form that really has no value or no meaning. It's almost like a fake scam. Like it's a way that somebody's making money somewhere, because why would you have to pay for the parking spot you already are paying for? Like I pay for that parking spot, I don't know what it costs, maybe 8,000 yen, $70-$80 a month. Then now, just because I'm putting a different car into that parking space, I have to come here, get a form, get a map of where the car is going, the same spot, and I have to give that to Gulliver's, and that is given to the police to make sure, because in Japan, every car has to have a designated parking space. And so that I understand, and I have one. But because I'm changing the car, I'm obligated to pay another 6,600 yen and come here and get it and hand it in to Gulliver's. It's like crazy. Today was a great example of the efficiency of Japan, and how there's a lot of things that businesses nickel and dime you to death. And that's the negative side, the bad side of Japan. You know, if they were to do it better, it could be a win-win for everyone. But instead, it ends up being like someone like me who's actually thinking and saying, I don't get it. I already have the parking space. I'm already paying for the parking space. All I'm doing is changing the car. Can't I just go into that paper that originally I must have handed in and just put a different car name? So no, somebody's making money somewhere. So I don't understand that part. And as a foreigner, as an American, I feel like, geez, something is wrong with this. So today my whole run brought out different parts of Japan that I really disagree with. You know, like for example, the Hanko situation where my Hanko couldn't be registered, even though the Hanko with its little chips and things actually would be a better way to keep my privacy and identity, to prove that I am who I am, much better than making a new one, which I just went to order, which costs 4,000 yen. And I came here, it cost 6,000. So another 10,000 yen, 10,600 yen, which is over $100, just to go through this motion so I can hand it in to apply to buy a new used car. So it's crazy. Wow. I knew it was going to be crazy, but I didn't know it was going to be that crazy and that expensive. And what I heard from the guy inside, he said to me that on the contract, it says that for your first time when you put your first car there, it's free. I guess you're paying for the parking spot anyway. But from the second and third and fourth time, you're going to have to pay like 6,600 yen each time. So what's the point? It's strange to me. And it's a system that nobody ever asked, should we continue the system? Does it have any meaning? It does for the people making money, but not for the consumer or the purchaser or the person who's buying it. So I made it to Hiwado. I'm gonna pick up the Hanko. So I'm here at the Hanko. Hopefully she's here. Sumimasen. So I got the Hanko and I will register it at City Hall now. They give you a little case, and inside is actually the bigger one like that. You can see, and it says Matsuno. So I made it to City Hall and I'm going to register my Hanko here. So I just turned it in, filled out a form. So guess what? I got it done! My Hanko or stamp gets officially registered in their record somewhere. So anytime I need to come and get another form, this is the document that you get. I guess it says like officially registered Hanko, and it has my Hanko here and it has my name, and this is proof that when I use this Hanko, when I purchase something like a car, or when I asked her, she said, or people buy a house or they buy land, anything that you buy that's large, you're gonna use a Hanko, you need one of these. And needless to say, guess what? It cost money. 600 yen, about $6. If you're getting any value from this video, please hit that like button and subscribe. A couple of days later, I returned to Gulliver's for the second time to complete the official paperwork for purchase and insurance, and stamped with the new all-English Hanko 3 different forms, which I did not really understand, but I assumed it was all part of the process. And finally, we decided what day I would turn in the coat and pick up the Honda Fit. And so finally, today is the day here at Gulliver's. Gulliver's has a 3-month warranty on all their used cars. If anything goes wrong with the car outside of electrical components, they will repair it for no cost in the first 3 months. So that type of warranty is something you would probably never see at any used car dealer in the US. In fact, used car dealerships are well known for not usually being honest and up with customers, right? That is why the expression in the US, for someone who is a good BS or a bullshitter, they say, "You sound like a used car salesman," which is not a compliment. It carries the feeling that we cannot really trust you. It's very different here in Japan for Japanese used car dealers. In Japan, there's a sense of trust, and that for the most part, you can expect honest and good service. So today, I will do the final paperwork, car registration, insurance. The Gulliver staff also, they do a very cute short presentation with a large golden key to new customers when they purchase a new car. They take a photo and they put it on their line online. It's really a nice promotional idea for them, but I also think it adds a really nice touch for the customer. Stella really enjoyed it when she came to pick up the red Mitsubishi Colt. Today is my turn to accept Gulliver's new used car golden key and then drive off into the sunset with my new used Honda Fit. Thank you, Kaneko-san and Gullivers. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and subscribe. See you on the next video from Japan. Arigato!
Yes. At last!
Cannot believe it!
Congratulations!